देश को भाषा के नाम पे या क्षेत्र के नाम पे नहीं बांटा जाना चाहिए।
We are against the imposition of a certain language in Tamil Nadu.
आप विकास की बात करिए, आपके घपले, घोटाले, भ्रष्टाचार छिपाने के लिए भाषा का आप आड़ देते हैं।
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening and welcome to the News Night, where we deep dive into stories shaping our nation, our country. Tonight, we are thrust into the heart of a fiery showdown that you've seen rocking India's political landscape. It's a literal war of words between the DMK and the BJP that has been igniting passions. It's been exposing multiple fault lines when it comes to the issues of language, education, and not to forget, power. At the center of this storm, ladies and gentlemen, is the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister MK Stalin and the Uttar Pradesh's Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, trading barbs over the national education policy, Hindi imposition, and also the very contentious issues when it comes to delimitation. Now, this isn't just a clash when it comes to policies. It is a battle of ideologies. It is a collision of regional pride and also national ambition, steeped in decades of historical tension. As Tamil Nadu fiercely defends its linguistic identity against what it calls, quote-unquote, the Hindi hegemony, and the BJP is literally pushing its vision of unity, the stakes couldn't be higher, especially with elections looming next year in Tamil Nadu and in the year 2027 in the big state of Uttar Pradesh. So from the legacy of anti-Hindi agitations in the south that we have seen to the saffron surge in the north, we'll uncover and unpack the history, the politics, and the personalities driving this explosive showdown. Stay with us. This is the News Night, and now we bring to you our big questions. So what really are these big questions? First up, is DMK's anti-Hindi stance genuine? Is it genuinely really about Tamil pride, as they tell us, or this is just for a vote bank, a 2026 vote ploy? The second big question, does BJP's delimitation reward northern states while punishing Tamil Nadu, as the DMK really alleges? Does that allegation even stand? The third big question was Tamil Nadu's, remember the Rupee switch that they did during their budget where they changed the logo? Is this a matter of cultural flex, as they tell us, or this is a quote-unquote a separatist dig, as you've seen the BJP alleging? Is the DMK versus the BJP that has now turned into a Stalin versus a Yogi battle all about power play? And can the BJP blunt the DMK's delimitation attack? What really is their plan? Clearly, these are questions that are on top of our mind, and to answer those questions, let's go full frame, and this is the News Night's Wide Angle. So when it is a wide angle, the idea is to look at things far better. So let's bring up what really have been the core center issues that you have seen happening between both the DMK and the BJP, because this clearly, remember, is not just about the language. So on our screens now, we will get you details of what this controversy has been all about, why time and again you have seen on the issue of the NEP, that's the National Education Policy, to the language row, where the BJP says that we want the National Education Policy of 2020. It has a 3-language formula that is adopted essentially by most states. Now, this is also where you've seen and heard the Union Minister Dharmendra Pradhan earlier slamming the DMK, because he alleges that the center there has been wanting to unify education. On the other side, you have the DMK that wants to politicize education and play with children's lives. On your screens are going to be multiple images of the key characters of a lot of these protests that we have seen. Let's also read what the DMK has said on the entire issue. The DMK, and particularly the Chief Minister, MK Stalin, has called this quote-unquote saffronized, just because it is the BJP doing this. So he says this is saffronization of education. He's defended the fact that the state will continue to just have a 2-language policy. Not just that, they've also made a big charge against the centre, saying that because they have not gone ahead with the 3-language formula here, their funds under the Samagra Shiksha funds have been withheld and they are being pressurized to succumb to their entire details. Now let's also move on to tell you more about not just this particular issue, but a lot of other issues that you have seen in the past being spoken about, particularly when it comes to the state of Tamil Nadu versus the centre. And why is it that Tamil Nadu again and again, remember, has been raking up multiple issues? The debate on delimitation, again, it needs no introduction, but it's important to put this into perspective because we here are trying to connect the dots. When it comes to delimitation, we had seen that fiery attack by the Union Home Minister Amit Shah in the Parliament, and he made it very, very clear, unequivocally. Amit Shah said that this will not change the composition when it comes to the southern states, and it will not hit Tamil Nadu at all. Not just this, there were multiple assertions literally made, also saying that we will be pushing a pro-rata system to keep the current seats unless, in fact, even the post-census, there is a change in the number of seats. So you have seen that assertion that has come in from the centre, but what does MK Stalin, what does the DMK say? The DMK says that we are worried that the number of seats of Tamil Nadu will be dropped because we've had, a good check on our population and we are literally going to be punished for it. That is the pitch that has been used by MK Stalin. He's also, in fact, led the entire fight towards all the leaders coming in from South India, and he said that let's have the 1971 census as a seat basis for the next 30 years. So he essentially has been trying to play that unifier, trying to get everyone together, only to tell us that this is a big issue. But let's not forget, like I said, every story has a backstory and there is a larger plot to it. And because we've seen what happened vis-a-vis the language issue, we've seen what happened vis-a-vis the delimitation issue, there is more to this ongoing saga that you see between both the BJP and the DMK. The other big issue we are talking about is the Sanatan Dharma. You must be remembering what Adityanath Stalin had literally said. And this is when the BJP said that Sanatan unites everyone culturally. Why to hit out at Sanatan Dharma? Why to compare this to dengue or to malaria? Now then they had also slammed Adityanath Stalin for those remarks where it actually compared Sanatan Dharma to dengue, to malaria. Not just him, there were multiple leaders that came in from the DMK supporting that stance. Let's tell you what the DMK has always maintained on that entire issue. The DMK said that this critique was aimed at a caste bias, not when it comes to Hinduism per se. But clearly, this is something that did not go well with a lot of people. We had seen a lot of strong opinions on this, including people from the India Alliance that is part along with the DMK. Let's move on also now to tell you more about how we have seen the entire story panning out. And because we spoke about this just during, the budget that was presented there in Tamil Nadu, there was this whole fracas about how the Rupee logo was also changed by the state. And the state, literally, remember, actually defended that decision. What really led to this? They decided to replace the Rupee symbol, and that is, in fact, the entire video later that was also released by the Chief Minister. Stalin said that this is a move to establish our cultural identity. So once again, you see the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister wanting to garner public support and pitch this as an issue of cultural identity, to which you had seen a very strong counter that had also come in from the BJP. The charge was being led by the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman and also leaders like Annamalai, who've condemned this, saying that this is divisive and quote-unquote secessionist. So strong remarks that you've heard from essentially all sides on the entire issue. The reason why it is important to ask whether this is really about the language issue that you have seen again and again, being spoken about over the last few hours, or there is something deeper in this entire issue. And on this, let's also say good evening to our panel of guests joining us. It's a pleasure to have Mr. Saravanan, who's representing the DMK on the show. And also a pleasure to have Rahul Ishwar. Good evening to both of you, gentlemen. Saravanan, to you first. You know, it's good to see you smiling because we must always smile. But politicians are becoming very predictable, no, Saravanan? I have just decoded why it is not just the language, not just delimitation, when you change the Rupee logo to a lot more things. But tell me something, because you make this about language. There is this ASER report of 2024. Now, 37% of the class 5th government school students in Tamil Nadu, Sarvanan, could not even read class 2 level text. How are you really preserving the Tamil language?
Yeah. See, you have brought up a lot of issues. I don't know whether we'll have time to discuss everything. Delimitation, 3-language formula, Sanatan Dharma, and whether this is the election thing or not. Let me put things in perspective. First and foremost, the 3-language formula. See, we do not subscribe to this national education policy because it is regressive. It will take us 100 years back. Just to cite a small instance. See, for example, the gross enrollment ratio, one of the important aims and objective of this new education policy is to have 50% GER, gross enrollment ratio, across the country by 2030. By 2020, we have achieved this milestone. We are almost 10 or 15 years ahead. So why should we follow this NEP? One size fits all will not work in the education space because we know what we are doing. That is the reason why the top engineering colleges here, top universities are here. So we don't want preaching from, or we don't want any policy thrust upon us which do not subscribe to our notions, to our
Sarvanan,
demands.
If
This is one aspect.
If I may, because you said there are multiple issues. I know Rahul Ishwar wants to comment, but Sarvanan, tell me one thing. Does the NEP mention anywhere that Hindi is a mandatory language? Tell me yes or no.
It does. You see, that's what it need not say so.
Need not say so. So it does not say so, right?
No, you see, that's what, Preeti, we are not, Deepthi, we are not here in a courtroom where you are going to cross-examine me, whether I'm allowed to say only yes or no. I am allowed to explain for the benefit of the viewers. So, see, for example, there are 20 students who want to study 20 different languages, 3 under the 3rd language formula. Is the union government going to appoint 20 different teachers for every school? Is it possible? Isn't it a drain on resources? And what about the drain on the students? What about how difficult it is for them to study the 3rd language? Instead, they could use that time to study better science or English. Sorry, science or maths, which will help them economically. How will studying a 3rd language help them economically? We are here in an economic thing where the students want to get the best. They want the education.
Sarvanan, this is the code of people. You know, you obviously are not in a courtroom, but this is the code of people. Rahul Ishwar will take it up from there. You know, Rahul, I do not have a BJP representative on the show, and we must make it very clear to our viewers watching that the BJP has declined to be a part of this conversation right now. But, you know, there are a lot of questions being raised. Now, there was a Kothari Commission report also, you know, that was put out earlier, Rahul. And that gives you another idea of how you can deal with the entire issue. If you're talking of a North Indian state, you have a South Indian language being taught there. And if you're in a South Indian state, you can have Hindi being taught there. Is this really about language or this is politics, Rahul? What is your take?
Let me be very honest with 2 points. One, it's an ancient battle. I mean, that battle is, you know, as old as the ancient race of Aryan and Dravidian, Sanskrit versus Tamil. And let us be honest about this. There is a lot of politics history in it. But please remember, Sarvananji, it was Narendra Modi ji who proudly said as India's, perhaps the first prime minister who said, Tamil is older than Sanskrit. This is one of the most contentious questions of Indian history. And Modi ji didn't even try to balance, saying that both are old. Modi ji categorically went on to at least tell 6 times that Tamil is older than Sanskrit. Swami Vivekananda had this question. So many people who studied Indian history has pointed this out. Second, I am a proud Indian. I am a proud South Indian too. It was Mahatma Gandhi, the father of the nation, who requested us to study Hindi. Mahatma Gandhi sent his own son across the Vindhyas to Tamil Nadu and my state, Kerala. And Mahatma Gandhi's son came and requested us, started the Hindi Prachara Sabha, saying we need a link language. So I believe we should not be having an animosity to Hindi because it is not any politics that is at play. It was the desire of the father of the nation. And if there are nuances and debates, that can definitely be taken. But the larger debate is not about NEP, not about quality of education, but it is an ancient battle that is being played out with new masks. We need not have that. We have a Prime Minister, Narendra Modi ji, who regularly conducts Kashi Tamil Sangam, who has has Chengol installed in our Lok Sabha, who respects, and when he went to UN, he speaks in Tamil, and he says, my greatest regret is I couldn't study Tamil. And I was invited for a program of Modi ji, where Modi ji openly said the North Indian states didn't implement the three-language policy. There was a flawed implementation. So when we have an honest Prime Minister accepting and conceding all this, shouldn't we as South Indians be open to the idea? Let us learn our great Tamil language.
It's also about choices, no, Rahul? It's also about choices. And because Saravanan conceded to that fact, Saravanan, that the NEP does not speak about the fact that Hindi is mandatory. So is this your hatred towards Hindi, or is this more about the fact that whether it is delimitation, whether it is the language row, whether it is about replacing that Rupee logo, Saravanan, you just want to put your focus back on consolidating your vote bank, as the BJP alleges, because you don't want people to speak about governance, you don't want people to speak about alleged corruption.
Yeah, Deepthi, let me put the record straight, and I want to correct you. We don't have any hatred for Hindi. We hate Hindi imposition. See, we have Hindi Prachar Sabhas where more number of students than any other Hindi Prachar Sabhas are getting trained. We are not opposing that. We have many Bollywood movies running to full houses here in the state of Tamil Nadu, and we all love Bollywood songs. We all love Bollywood stars. Amir Khan, Salman Khan, Shah Rukh Khan. We like all of them. We enjoy all their movies. If the union government is really thinking that, they should promote Hindi, soft power is one of the best ways to promote Hindi, not shoving it down our throats. We don't like it.
No, but who's doing that, Saravanan? Who's doing that? I want to know this.
Yeah, Deepthi, I'll come to it.
When you tell people this.
Yeah. You have asked me a question, I'll answer that. You are asking me, who does that? It is the BJP government which does that. For example, I'll cite you. The CSE examination, it had only English and Hindi as the eligibility languages. If you know only English, you'll be able to write this examination. If you know only Hindi, you'll be able to write the examination. But if you know only Malayalam, if you know only Kannada, if you know only Tamil, you will not be able to write the examination. And our leader, our Chief Minister, Mr. MK Stalin, raised his voice against it. The union government studied and said, no, we will change it. Earlier, during the UPA regime, all the regional languages were there. The union BJP government changed it. This is imposition. And the kind of money that is spent for Hindi, is there a fraction of amount that is spent for the other classical languages? 1,600 crores for Sanskrit. Let me finish. Yeah, let me finish.
This is exactly what I began this entire conversation about. Is this really about language, or this is more about politics, Rahul? You've just heard Saravanan making his case very clear. He says that this is happening because the government wants to impose Hindi, even though the NEP does not mention this. Will this help the DMK?
And I would respectfully submit to Sarvananji that it is about ideology. I won't demean his argument by merely telling politics. Yes, it's a sensitive topic, especially as a South Indian Brahmin. I understand the sensitivities of both North and South. There has been a tug of war that is going. But Sarvananji, please remember, the biggest Hindi hit is a dubbed Tamil movie called RRR. The biggest pan-Indian hit is a dubbed Telugu movie called Pushpa. One of the biggest hits was a Kannada translated movie called KGF. So North and South are integrating more. We shouldn't fall back and fall behind the times. And people even from Tamil Nadu and people from the North has been integrating more and more. That's the reason why we had a three-language policy envisioned by the great founding fathers of our nation, which really wanted people to integrate more and more. We can definitely say the North Indian should take up a great language of Tamil or any other South Indian language. At the same point of time, in the name of politics or ideology, blocking national integration and having a separatist, or I wouldn't use the word separatist, having a different mindset is not right. And please remember, it was a Tamil who designed the Rupee symbol. It was the son of a DMK MLA who even designed a Rupee symbol. Was it not provocative in the part of Stalin, just to remove that? So we should not go for any kind of provocation. Rather, more integration is the way ahead. You definitely suggest, and I believe Modi ji as a person who regularly promotes Tamil, Kashi Tamil Sangam, will celebrate that. But this whole idea of going against national integration and unity will not do any good for the South.
Okay, you say this is about national integration, and your charge is, Rahul Ishwar, that the DMK is going against national integration. Is that true, Saravanan? Why don't you open your cards and tell us more about how do you intend to win these elections that you will have in Tamil Nadu next year?
Yeah. See, it was good gyan given by Mr. Rahul Ishwar. Probably this gyan should be given to the BJP so that they will worry about national integration. Hindi is not conducive for national integration, especially imposing it down our throats. It's not going to help integrate India. English is the classic example of an leveler. Here we are You are from, you don't know Tamil, I don't know Malayalam. Probably Rahul Ishwar knows both of the languages, but all three are able to communicate in English. This is what we want. We want English to remain and continue as the linked language, which the BJP wants to destroy. Mr. Amit Shah says English is a colonial hangover. We should stop studying English. But all the BJP ministers' children will get degree from Oxford, Stanford, Harvard, and all the Ivy League universities, and the Karyakattas should not study English.
Saravanan, see, time is limited. I began by asking you this one little question.
Yes.
I'll repeat it again.
I'll answer that.
The ASA report of 2024, just one data I will give you, 37% of the class 5 government school students in Tamil Nadu could read class 2 level text. So if you really want to preserve the Tamil language, why is this data so bad? Is this really about language? Just take 10 more seconds to respond to that, please.
Because ASER data is skewed.
It's skewed.
We cannot trust, it's skewed. You cannot trust it. If ASER data is a gospel truth, how will we have 47% at GER, gross enrollment ratio, and talking about separatism? Asking for a rights is not separatism. And let the BJP and the RSS not preach nationalism or patriotism to us. In 1962, when the Indo-China war was there, our great leader, Pereira said, we don't want a separate state. We want
no one
the
is
nation to be
talking of
united.
a separate state. I don't know, Sanatan, why are you going there? We are not talking of a separate state. India is united. India will stay united. Every political party, every leader has their own space. Only for word of time. Only for word of time, Saravanan. Only for word of time. Another 5 seconds. Okay, 5 seconds.
5 seconds.
Yes.
1971 war. Our great leader, Dr. Kalaignar, was the chief minister. He collected funds. No other state has collected. For what?
Okay.
For the India-Pakistan war. Similarly,
it is not about the Indo-Pak war. We need to look ahead. You need to look into the future, Saravanan. You're building the future of the country.
Don't teach patriotism to us.
All right. Saravanan and Rahul Ishwar, only for word of time, gentlemen. Thank you so much, but we'll keep our spotlight on that big issue. And don't forget that as you talk of this entire issue, it is also important to have a very clear perspective of where the story really stands. And this is where Newslight's bottom line comes into focus. So you've heard what happened when you ask political parties direct questions. Now, India's democracy, ladies and gentlemen, thrives on balance, not supremacy. Be it race, be it religion, or be it language. Those are the keywords. Balance, not supremacy. No one gets to claim the upper hand. That is the real deal. But here we are with the DMK rallying southern pride and the BJP pushing a national frame, each accusing the other of literally tearing that very fabric that we all are made of. Now, it is less about policy, clearly, more about the 2026 ballot box, more about the votes, less about the language. Federalism demands that we all coexist. There is no conquest, yet both sides have played to their galleries, risking the very unity they swear to protect. And this is the reason why you need to be aware of the facts, aware of the truth. And even if the DMK says that an ASER report is skewed, they need to prove that. Until they don't do that, we need to keep asking the right questions. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.